talking about different stuff we were watching or whatever, and she's like, "What do you guys think about this Meghan Markle and Prince Harry or whatever?" And we looked at each other, we're like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
I was actually intrigued. I was thinking, man, I want to see what
the Oprah Winfrey interview,
because it's like fucking Oprah. Oprah can end homelessness in a weekend.
If she could, you'd think she might, because she was in Roots.
I know, right? I mean, she could end poverty in America. Come on, her and Bill Gates one day get together and be like, fuck it.
Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, let's wipe out poverty. Jeff Bezos, he's never going to do shit. He wants to own Canada or some shit.
Weird.
He's like, I'm almost to the point where I can buy Canada from England. And then I'm done. Okay, you ready?
I am.
Okay, you want to start?
Sure.
Wherever there's trouble, G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra the enemy, fighting to save the day. He never gives up, he's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe.
Attack warning, Red.
Attack warning. Is this real? Attack warnings for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. I'm here tonight with...
Hey, guys.
Yeah, that guy.
It's me, Brock.
It's me, Brock. No, I'm Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Dan. No, you're Dan.
I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
I'm Brock and you're Dan, yes. But tonight's kind of a different night for us. Usually we'll give you a movie or something like that. Tonight you're going to get double punch action.
Ooh.
A little double feature. What are we covering tonight, Brock?
G.I. Joe the movie and Transformers the movie.
Okay.
Together. Staples of our childhood.
Like Shia LaBeouf and Tom Hardy or whoever was in the G.I. Joe movie that I don't remember very well.
Oh, fucking, what's his name?
Not Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum, yeah. Are those the movies we're talking about?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
No.
Good, I didn't watch those movies.
Yeah. The Rock.
I have watched those movies.
Yeah, me too. Just because I'm a fan of G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I'm going to say G.I. Joe is the shit. Or it was really cool when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What kid didn't love playing with guns and stuff like that?
Oh,
I mean, yeah, fake guns, until they put the little bitty red ends on them and then just shot water out of them.
One of my favorite things to do with my G.I. Joe stuff, though, was like take the missiles and stuff off, and I'd make like blasters for my arms and stuff,
Nice.
Like that was a superhero.
I loved
ninja or something.
You're just like, pew pew. I loved
That's really the blaster off of...
Yeah, this is Destro's arm blaster.
This is made from the Cobra Hiss.
Dude, I loved getting the G.I. Joe vehicles because you got to build them. That was like the coolest shit ever. They didn't just give you the toy fully formed. You like had to work for that shit.
Yeah.
The decals, you made a commitment. You were like, am I going to do the decals or am I not going to do the decals? And then halfway in between it, you're like, I'm going to do the decals. And they were always off, and that pissed me off because they weren't like it was on the box. No. But G.I. Joe the movie, Transformers the movie, those were staples.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. This is your favorite TV shows whenever you're a kid, Both of them came out in 87, didn't they?
No, Transformers came out in 1986, actually.
Oh, shit.
Though G.I. Joe coming out in 1987 actually started production before Transformers, but there were some issues on the set. Or not the set because it's a cartoon, but
Behind
whatever.
the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
There's so much with these movies, and there's so many huge people that voice acted. This was the biggest crop of voice actors that they had. The only dude that wasn't in this one that was in Transformers was like Scatman. Scatman Carruthers was 100% Transformers.
Right.
You knew that voice. Plus Chris Latta. Rest in peace.
So what do we want to get into first? What do you want to do?
Let's go over this movie. Who wrote it? Who directed
Which one
it?
are we doing first?
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Okay. That's what I was asking.
Right. So is directed by Don Jerwich, produced by Joe Bacall and Tom Griffin, written by Buzz Dixon, uncredited, and Ron Friedman.
Ron Friedman did like the G.I. Joe series, the Transformer series, the Marvel Action Hour, stuff like that.
Damn.
So he was a writer on that kind of stuff.
And a lot of these voices were on there too, weren't they? Who was Larry Hama? I guess was a real Vietnam vet, but then he came back and he wrote G.I. Joe in the comics for Marvel. He came up with all of the file cards for every one of the G.I. Joes. And they introduced Tunnel Rat because that's who he was in the military. Right. So they kind of made that amalgam character for him, you know.
Nice.
And they were introduced in this because we got what, 4 new Joes in this one.
Yeah, we got a couple of them that were very forgettable.
Damn. Like the Big Live or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't remember that guy other than from this movie. Like Tunnel Rat, I remember going on in the series.
Yeah. Big Lob.
I remember Jinx.
Yes.
Chuckles, I don't remember him after this either. And that guy just like, he's just real strong.
He was a super badass. Yeah. But he was like an undercover dude.
Yeah.
In the comics, he had a lot more.
Okay.
From what I remember.
Sure.
You got, Jinx, which Jinx somehow turns into, like, she's part of the Arashikage or whatnot, too.
Yeah. Later on, yeah.
When they went on Ninja and shit.
Yeah.
And then, Law and Order.
Yeah.
Law and Order were somebody, because if you got a G.I. Joe with another accessory with it.
It was so cool. Like, remember Snake Eyes had the wolf?
Yeah.
And then there was Mutt.
Yeah.
And I forget what the dog's name was.
Mutt and Jeff.
No, I don't think so.
No.
But at any rate, he was the original canine kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had, of course, this guy was an MP with a German Shepherd.
Right,
Very large German Shepherd.
And these were like their third. This was supposed to be the transition between the second seasons of both of these shows to the third season.
Where they could make more toys.
Correct.
That's really what this was all about, which is where they got their budgets.
Right. And
totally makes sense.
The only one that continued after this, because we're not going to remember the second G.I. Joe series because it sucked really bad.
I don't remember the second G.I. Joe series.
You don't want to.
Fair enough.
You know, Swamp Thing was a better show, cartoon-wise. But Transformers actually went on for another season.
I thought that we'll get into that when we discuss Transformers. So let's stay away from that for a minute.
So, so we had the good guys, right? We had Big Lob, Tunnel Rat, Chuckles, Lieutenant Falcon, Jinx, Law and Order.
The Don Johnson.
Of
A Boy and His Dog fame.
I mean, come on. You have you have Sonny Crockett. No, he's Sonny Crockett.
Yeah.
You have Sonny Crockett voicing that. And this was when he was like coming out of Miami Vice, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this had to be towards the end of Miami Vice, right?
So it's kind of like a transition almost into a bigger movie career, but
he was just a voice acting though. I mean,
right. I mean, it was kind of a big deal because you also had Burgess Meredith.
Yeah.
Globulus. Yeah. And I mean, come on. I mean, all the characters that you
bum rock.
Chris Latta is the one that you know the most because he is Starscream and Cobra Commander.
Yes.
He does a shitload of other voices on there too. Michael Bell was another one of the really, really big dudes that
he did a lot of characters, but like Duke was, I think, the biggest one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then he also got Peter Cullen. He did a lot. Peter Cullen, I think, has done more voices. He's got more screen credits than almost anybody in the world.
Frank Welker?
Yeah, both of them together.
Okay.
You put them together, oh my God, they're like everything. But there's so many of these people that had just like one voice. And because I have the, what was it? I had the special edition or something a long time ago.
Okay.
At least I got it from Netflix or something like that. And the behind the scenes for it is pretty cool because they talk how they all used to have fun, you know, before they would go record their lines. And they had so many other characters that they would have to do during the television show. And this was a little bit different.
One of the guys that stood out for me for this was Rob Paulson. And he only has he plays Snow Job, who's apparently more badass of a Joe than a lot of the other Joes, come to find out. Like, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But he did Raphael and Donatello's voices in the 87 Turtles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think you even reprised that in the later one as well.
You also had Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, of course you did.
So there was
the Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, so that was even for more new Joes, right?
Yeah.
And new vehicles, and
they were the Renegades.
The Renegades in an itty bitty diddy bag. That Hank Garrett dial tone's voice, you know that voice too.
100%.
Serpentor's voice, not so much, you know. I mean, this is one thing that I noticed about all of the G.I. Joe shows and everything like that. It's like every one of those dudes was like an Adonis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like they were probably lifting like 300 pounds, you know, jumping out of windows and stuff. It's crazy because my favorite character, who's your favorite character?
Of G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe.
Snake Eyes, 100%.
Snake Eyes?
Always has been. Him and Storm Shadow.
Okay. Because I was a big, Flint.
Okay.
He was always like my favorite. I don't know why.
Sure.
Maybe it was the first one I got, something like that. I don't know. But he was always like my favorite.
I think Snake Eyes was my favorite because he was like mysterious, like he was a badass, but he never talked. You know what I mean? And then you found out that backstory a little bit.
In the comics, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
One
of my favorite comic runs is actually from the G.I. Joe comic. That's the one where he finally got his face fixed and whatever. And he's in this building and he was taken by Cobra. And they fuck his shit up again. They mess. I'm sorry. They scar him. They really mess him up pretty bad in the face again. And he flips out and he just kills everybody level by level in this building. Just going through and like making armor as he's going through, grabbing weapons and just kills everyone.
Nice.
I was like, yes.
Snake Eyes is a badass. 100%. He played a small role in this.
And we'll get to that point because there's like a part where like he just easily gets his ass kicked by like people who later on Snow Job's knocking around like they're nothing, you know, like and I'm like I don't think Snow Job's a better fighter than Snake Eyes.
Right.
You know, who's a ninja or whatever,
he's
you know.
They're freaking Arashikage. You know what I mean?
One of the one voice, of course, that like I associate with this too is the G.I. Joe, a special, you know, that guy.
Yeah.
So that narrator for all that was the guy that did the 60s Adventures of Superman on the radio.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Jackson Beck was his name.
That's cool. Because there's so many. I mean, these people are still, if they're still alive, most of them, you know, are still doing voices. I know Bill Ratner that does Flint. He was actually on like what was it? A Family Guy episode, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as Flint. So yeah. So you want to get into the movie?
Sure.
All right.
So we start out with a really sweet opening.
I think the opening, like you said, you don't like it because it's too long.
It's too long. It's real cheesy, first of all, because they're like trying to kind of rock up the G.I. Joe song.
Yeah.
Trying. And it goes on forever. And they're like parachuting down. There's confetti and crazy stuff going on. And I will tell you, first I have to tell you this story. My wife asked me, what movie are you watching? I said, G.I. Joe. I said, but not that new crap. I said, the cartoon movie. And she's like, oh. I said, Don Johnson's Falcon in this. And she goes, I almost was going to watch that with you.
I was almost going to take the time, but when you said that, I'm out.
When you said Don Johnson, I'm out of here. And then I turned it on. I'm watching the intro, and I swear every member of my family walked by, and I'm like, God, I'm watching. This is like the most terrible. We just need to get past this. It's good. I promise. There's good parts.
I love it.
I love it. There are spots in this movie, and we'll talk about it when we get there, where like suddenly the art's real shitty. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong, there's parts that are super tight.
Yes. The intro is the one that they focus the most on.
The intro, I would say there's even some of that middle piece, but like when they have the battle on Cobra Island, when they go to Cobra Island and they're getting away on the boats.
Oh, yeah.
And the things are exploding. It's just like lines. It's like a line art or something. Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
they just give up right there. Like,
at that
we
point,
ran
they're
out
like,
of money. This is going direct to video anyways.
It's like, oh shit, we forgot that one. Just put it on. Nobody will notice.
And that's why this one went direct to video, because Transformers didn't do very well in the theater. And it came out the year before.
Yeah, and people loved the Transformers. All the kids our age that went to go see it, they introduced, of course, the new toys. Like, and again, well, when we talk about that, but this one right here, I remember seeing it on the shelves at the video store and being like, holy crap, right? So yeah, you have that mega opening. I thought it was really cool. But if you think about it, like the intro to the TV show, they were doing the same thing.
Oh, 100%.
Short scale. And then they added it and made it like 5 minutes long.
It was long, dude.
Yes.
It was a long time to listen to that song and be like, okay.
Hear the battle cry. Because it must have been 4th of July at the Statue of Liberty.
Usually, yeah.
And like, yeah, right. But you notice, and this is one thing that I noticed last night, was they never kill anybody.
No, of course not.
But they did. You know how they did? Duke killed them all.
That song over and over again?
Duke killed them all.
Duke killed them all?
Because he grabbed the bomb that Cobra Commander put down, flew it all the way up to the ship. Somebody's got to be in that goddamn ship.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Hundreds and hundreds of people.
He straps it underneath.
And blows up that freaking giant whale-looking aircraft carrier in the sky, right?
Right.
He killed like at least 1,000 Cobra troopers, right?
He goes 1,000?
Yeah, at least. I mean, they were. Did you guys see how big the bay was, to get
big.
their stuff out of there? I mean, they were getting rattlers, like 7 of them across.
It was like the Death Star.
Right. So there was a lot of dudes that were just in there for the pension. You know what I mean? It was good health care, good pension, and yeah, I can be an asshole. You know, that's Cobra. And then Alpine like punches the fire bat glass on the top. That was unbelievable. Come on.
I think if you're watching G.I. Joe, you can suspend a little disbelief, though.
He just breaks it with his hand, and then it's like, and it falls into the boat. And then like the way they show every one of the characters, they let you know they're here.
Yeah,
Shipwreck's there. Bazooka does his thing. Like, whoops, I'm Bazooka. Snake Eyes is a badass in it. You know what I mean? Sure. I didn't see Storm Shadow in the opening part.
I didn't either. I don't think Storm Shadow's not in any of this movie.
Not at all.
No, unfortunately. There's a lot of characters where like there was development in the show that were in this that didn't have much of, like Lady J. Yeah. You know? And
Lady J was, I'd say she was my second favorite Joe.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, she's Lady J. Hello. Here's Lady J. Look at they drew her perfectly.
She's no Baroness.
No. I was part of a G.I. Joe group on Facebook. Oh my God. All it was like half naked pictures of the Baroness.
What?
People in cosplay, people drawing it. And I was like, this is stupid. What is this, the Baroness channel?
Right.
I was like, man, I've had enough of this. But enough about that. But okay. So after we get that done, right? We're in the Terrordrome. Yes. Which I like this too, because they were trying to make it cinematic. You know what I mean? Like they were showing the long shots and then showing, them going around and how big the Terrordrome was, everything like that, right? And then, of course, there's something in the river or something like that coming out because they show, what was it, a bug getting eaten by a fish, and as soon as the fish is going back into the water, it gets eaten by an alligator.
Yep.
And then that thing pops up. So something symbolic in there.
Right. The food chain.
Yeah, right. And so that was like, here's the whole movie for you, kids. Right. You'll never get it. And then we see some mysterious figure while Serpentor's in his deal. And like Serpentor's just, like an egotistical asshole.
Yeah, Serpentor's over the top.
Fools, blunderers. And then why is Cobra Commander wearing a cape and has a scepter?
Yeah. I didn't understand any of that.
Well, they were all in his chambers, right?
Right.
They're in Bebe's chambers. Serpentor's chambers. And then he's like, nah, everybody's going to stick up for me. And they're like, no, he's an idiot.
Yeah, like Destro comes up and is like, you're a buffoon.
World-class buffoon.
Dr. Mindbender's like, he forgot you were a jackass or whatever.
Yeah, right? Everybody's turning against him and is like, fuck y'all guys, right?
Right.
And then we get to see that mysterious figure kind of break through the gates and everything like that. But she's using organic things.
Right. Like she's throws those, like when she comes through the fence, she has like the electric eel things.
That eat through the fence?
Yeah. But
even
they're like connected.
Yeah, even though she's not affected by
they
it.
Get bigger. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's no science there.
No.
But at any rate, you're right. And she's like using like a puffer fish thing to like put
clams.
Yeah. She's using her clam.
Yeah.
To like spray in people's faces and knock them out.
She extends her fingernails, right? And she goes through like 12 inches of steel
with like a corrosive acid.
Right. And then she gets in there and she kicks the crap out of all the Crimson Guards. The first dudes, right? You got to feel sorry for those guys because they're like the mechanics.
Yeah. Like she ends up.
They're like, get her,
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
I'm like, is this a aha video?
Then the Crimson, and of course, Cobra Commander's kind of like, he knows this might be a way to get rid of him.
Yeah, so
because of course
he sees her. Like they're searching all together, and he sees her, and he's just like, "Oh, not that way, this way." Just lets her go.
Right. And then I like how she gets the Crimson Guards, and she burns the dude's head. She wraps one like a mummy, and then kicks the crap out of another one and throws him up against the wall and breaks it.
Like whatever she had going on with burning his head had to be like they have like one of those like. More like helmet-style helmets.
Yeah, like a stormtrooper.
Yeah. Burn it right through there. Didn't even matter.
And they're the first line of elite guards.
Right.
So you had the Televipers and all the other ones, and you have the Crimson Guards.
It's very Star Wars to have some Crimson Guards. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she does that whole scene where she runs through everything, makes it past all the blocks, and then it's like boom, 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 boom. Shooting all the fucking arrows, and she jumps through and does like 85 somersaults. He's like, I have seen you before
in my dreams.
What? So we programmed you. And you see,
if you watched G.I. Joe before that,
yeah,
like you knew that like Dr. Mindbender was really the mastermind behind Serpentor.
Yeah.
Like they got like Attila the Hun's genes, like all these different terrible
Alexander the Great,
yeah,
Vlad the Impaler,
Carrie's mom,
yeah. So they got the world's most dangerous people, right?
Yeah.
And they did have a 4-part show about it, which was about an hour and a half, and that was the introduction of Sergeant Slaughter. Because part of his DNA is in Serpentor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that was I like that part of the series because I have them all. I have the whole series. So I mean, what happens to Pythona? Because that's what her name is.
Yes.
Afterwards,
as you find out, her name is Pythona.
Did like nobody else see her? She's like, I need you to get the broadcast energy transmitter. He's like, oh. Like he gets like an energy hard on for it, right?
He does.
So
then she disappears.
Yeah.
She's gone.
And nobody else knows.
And then we go to the Joes, and they're playing with the...
they're in Himalayas.
Yeah, with the BET.
Yeah.
And I waited so many times for Roadblock to say something like about attacking the BET.
Yes. Let's wreck some reptiles.
He always rhymes.
Yeah, I know. Right. He's like Etrigan the demon or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we get to see that, and it's basically he's like, we're going to solve the world's energy crisis with this one machine in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to turn this one on because it actually turned on all their stuff, right, and even started firing missiles.
It was like AI.
Right. It was a.
The science here was weird. So, like, they basically had like an unlimited energy supply. Seems like only in a certain area to some degree.
Well, if they're going to broadcast it over the world, I thought that being at the top or at the highest point, then it's going to go around. Okay. So it's basically like Tesla was wanting to do.
Right.
You know, unlimited energy for anybody.
But you're right. Like, they get attacked by Serpentor and Cobra.
Because they come after them.
Yeah, because they're going after the BET.
Yeah.
Broadcast energy transmitter. That everybody's attacking BET.
Yeah. Well, Cross Country's Havoc runs away.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa,
but
mule.
it lights up, and then it actually like turns on defenses to protect itself from Cobra.
Right.
At some point. And that's where you're like, is this energy or is this like AI of some sort? You know what I mean?
Right. So, of course.
As a kid, I don't think I ever thought that. I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, mainframe and dial toner, like, I can really feel semiconductors humming under my fingers.
Mainframe's a whack job.
Yeah. Well, dial tone. Mainframe's like the cool Marine dude.
Okay.
Mainframe's a Marine. I think.
Yeah. Dial tone's the one with the
he's
the accent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like the Micro Machines dude
he's
or
like
something.
from New Jersey or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. It's weird.
Connecticut or something. I don't know. Places I don't go.
Massachusetts.
I've been to New Jersey. I've never been to Massachusetts.
Oh, nice.
Or Connecticut.
It's hard to say. So yeah, they get into that big battle, and then Serpentor gets his ass whooped by Duke because of course Duke's gonna whoop his ass.
His name's
right?
Duke,
right? So he kicks the crap out of him, knocks him into the BET, shocks the shit out of him, and then he's out for the count. And Cobra Commander's like, "I know where we can go."
Yeah. He's like, retreat.
Yeah.
They're like, who's the cowardly blah, blah, blah. They call him retreat.
Let's build a counter-offensive. And, of course, they end up in this. The Joes start following them because they split up the force, right?
Right.
And so they end up somewhere in some, like, ice dome or something like that in the Himalayas.
Yeah, and there's, like, a forest of pod-looking trees. And that's when we're introduced to Cobra La.
Yes, because those dudes come out of the ground and they're like, la 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 la.
And they just whip everybody's ass.
They kick the crap out of everybody.
Yeah.
Except for the main bad guys like the Dreadnoks and stuff like that, right?
Well, they have a use for them.
Yeah.
As we find out.
I'm going to tell you my theory about the Dreadnoks. It's Black Sabbath.
Okay.
It is. Ozzy Osbourne is Zartan.
Zartan, okay.
Okay.
He's even got the accent a little bit.
Right. Sharon Osbourne is his sister.
Okay.
Zatanna.
Okay.
Right? Well, yeah, I mean, you just got to see it. I don't even think it was like an inadvertent kind of a thing.
Okay.
And then I was trying to think like Blowtorch, that's Geezer. Monkey Wrench, that was what's his nuts? Tony Iommi.
Okay.
And then Bill Ward is the blonde dude. The one with the ponytail.
Chainsaw?
Ripper or something like that.
Oh, Ripper.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's freaking.
Their toy, their car was my favorite toy that I ever owned.
Dude,
one of my favorite toys from G.I. Joe that I ever owned.
Had like
just 'cause
three
it had
of
like
those.
the Camaro front.
Yeah.
And it was the big Gatling guns.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah.
It was only $10.
It was like something that like the A-Team would make.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The that was introduced the first time in the Serpentor Arise. Yeah, because they were
Arise, the Printor, arise.
Arise, boy. So yeah, they start kicking the shit out of everybody, right? Those dudes come out, and then like what'd you say? Like Snow Job, right? Wouldn't you hate to drive something on your stomach?
Yeah.
Seems just kind of useless, you know? So
But he fights his way to it, and he gets in it, and he starts blasting them, and then
he gets swept up by Nemesis Enforcer.
yes, who is the ultimate badass.
He's
apparently.
like 7 foot tall, 8 foot tall, something like that. He's got wings. They're impervious to anything.
Yeah, he's like a really cool version of Archangel.
Yeah. Yeah. Without the metal wings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, like he puts out his elbow bone and he rips the freaking thing apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's whenever they give up and Cobra Commander's like, bravo, you're still as good, knocks the crap out of him across the deal.
Yeah. And
then, then he tries to escape and he picks him up. So Cobra Commander's captured. We really don't know what's going on at that point.
Meanwhile,
back at G.I. Joe base, of course, they're still trying to get information about the BET because that's under lock and key. So is Serpentor.
Because that channel hasn't even come out yet.
Correct. They're still working up the graphics for it. And so what's weird is, okay, Zatanna is impersonating some chick that's like Lieutenant Falcon's like whatever because
he like takes her. So Lieutenant Falcon's like in the storage facility on base for Serpentor,
right? With
this floozy,
because they introduce the new characters and Beachhead is in charge of fast tracking them, right?
Yeah.
And Beachhead, like, he's got to be hot in that goddamn thing. You know what I mean?
He's a jackass.
Yeah, I know he's an asshole, right? I mean, literally, he's got the freaking ski mask in the middle of summer.
Exactly.
He's got a smell. That's all I could think. Every time I look at him, I'm like, dude, that guy's got a stink. Like crap.
I did like that fart. I did like that fart. Yes.
That was a good one.
I did like the part where he fights Jinx.
Yes.
And like he kind of kicks the crap out of her. And then she's like, all right. And then she puts her blindfold on and just like completely whips his ass. Yeah.
Don't bother to unpack. Law and order's a thing, man. He finds the bombs, I drive the car. We tried it the other way. This didn't work. You can tell I've seen this one a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get Law and Order, you get their introduction, Big Lob.
And he's like a basketball player,
I guess.
Or a sports guy.
So he likes to like color commentate while he does stuff.
And he cut left.
Yeah, and the goal line is inside. So yeah, him and Tunnel Rat, they're pissing him off because they're not doing things the G.I. Joe way. You know what I mean? Chuckles doesn't either. He just grabs a missile and throws it at his tank.
Yeah, because he like doesn't fire in time, so he just goes out and grabs the missile and throws it at the tank.
Next time, use the rocket launcher. And Falcon's being a dumbass.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They don't know where he's at, but Beachhead
Johnson. Yes.
Beachhead doesn't seem too concerned.
No.
He's like, where's that no good Lieutenant Falcon? And they're like, I don't know. He's like washing his socks or something. Right? So yeah, he gets busted going in there and doing some laser shots, laser tricks. Is like, big old Serpentor's back in there.
And he almost shoots Duke.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, because he's fast.
Yeah,
Duke. Yeah. He goes through the tech manuals, right straight through them.
Yeah, he's obviously a really good shot.
Right. I mean, he's an officer, and Duke's
that
like
doesn't make him a good shot.
Well, he's been in the service probably for a little while. He probably worked his way up.
He could probably just have got his degree and then went and...
He was good with a laser beam.
He was good with a laser beam.
So, yeah, he's probably better than anybody that's got Maggie's draws.
The Duke takes her camera, smashes it.
Yeah, in his hand, too.
Yeah, well, he's Duke.
Yeah, he takes like a Kodak little bitty
deal.
Like
the Duke of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, but we don't see her car, which is a Corvette at first. And then she gets to the Corvette and Jinx is like, I kind of had a thing with him.
Yeah.
And then they get into some like fight. You don't really know why, and he's like, I'm pulling rank. Okay. Duke's like above you.
Yeah.
Because I think it goes Hawk, Duke, what's his nut? Flint, Beachhead, and then Wild Bill, I think. That's the progression of G.I. Joe. Or like the higher ups or some shit like that.
I don't ever know what what Duke's rank is. I'm going to look it up now while we're talking.
Yeah, right. Okay. So
You just keep talking.
yeah, so we get that part of it, and you can tell that there's some tension. But then, of course, that woman drives out. She starts taking off her clothes, getting to the lake or whatnot, and then
he actually does outrank
Lieutenant Falcon.
Duke. Yes, because he is a E8 first sergeant.
Ooh.
So technically, no, because generally a first sergeant will run a whole platoon, but he's an officer, so yes. You know what I mean?
Oh, so they were smart about that. They actually used it right. So yeah, that the dude that drives the cool dreadnought car is like, taking a dip, love. She flips him over, and of course Pythona and Nemesis Enforcer come out of some freaking testicle in the water, right?
Yes.
They kind of come up and it's like,
we find out it's Zorana.
Yeah.
Because she's like, takes off the wig and throws it on him, and he looks like a character from Metalopolis, Apocalypse a little bit.
Zorana, I didn't know it was you. So then, of course, because back at, Cobra Law, they're like, we want you to help us get the broadcast energy transmitter. He's like, I don't know who you are. And she shows him that big giant diamond. He's like, a gem of that size answers all my questions. Like, damn.
She did. She pulled out a gem like big as your head.
All right. It's like the Hope Diamond times 500.
And it was pink, so I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Yeah. He's like, okay, cool. I'm a dreadnought. I'll do it. I don't care. Who's paying us? So you find out that they're there and they're about to attack.
Yes.
So in the next scene, we see like Jinx, and this is a very sexist moment too from Lieutenant Falcon.
Oh yeah, where he like slaps her on the ass or whatever.
Like, want me to kiss it and make it better?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Settle down, Don Johnson.
Yeah, no shit. That kind of came out of nowhere, and you're like, ooh.
It got me too'd right on out of there, brother.
Yeah. No shit. Should have.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, I don't condone that by any means.
And she doesn't like hit him or knock him down or like kick him in the balls.
Him.
Yeah, I guess, right?
It's love, bro.
Yeah. It's not like the love for Lady J and Flint.
No. Or Duke and Scarlet.
Oh, no, it's not. And so all of a sudden, he's describing how they got to get through everything while they're getting through it.
Right.
The Pentaplastic shield will stop them. And then, of course, you got Bazooka, Alpine, and what's his name? Gung Ho. They're all gardening. So they got
the bio.
Yeah, they got the three best guys. You know what I mean? Right there, or the three toughest dudes, right? Yeah. So they break through, and they start firing everything, and the alarm's been cut. How you at splicing? So yeah, they all get messed up by Nemesis Enforcer. They break Serpentor out, and Lieutenant Falcon's like, Jesus, why does this have to happen today?
Yeah, because he was supposed to be guarding it, and he's over talking to Jinx.
Right. Yeah. Slapping her in the butt.
Yeah, being a douche. That's why.
Dick.
Karma, bitch.
So yeah, they have the military tribunal.
Yes.
Right. So Wild Bill's up there. Hawk. Who else? I know there's like 3 or 4 other dudes up there. So it's like the A-team is in trouble again, and so Duke stands up for Lieutenant Falcon because we find out it's his half brother.
I told our mother we'd not look out for you.
He's like, I don't need no looking out there.
Obviously, buddy.
Yeah, you suck.
You suck at life.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, we're not going to court-martial you and hang you or anything like that because you screwed up. You're going to go to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then they're in.
And he's like, well, he backs up. It's very.
Dun, dun, dun.
Send him to Detroit.
That's where it's downtown Detroit. Nothing wrong with Detroit.
No.
We like that. We like it there too.
I did not know that Flint is a chief warrant officer.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
That's why I think he's like 3rd in charge. Something like that. I don't even know what a warrant officer does.
A warrant officer is like, it's kind of an offshoot. It's its own thing. And I don't know what they do either.
Yeah, I know, right?
I remember I knew some warrant officers, and they were kind of like QA kind of people, quality assurance to some degree. But that may not be in every unit, you know what I mean? I don't know. But they were definitely like well respected, you know what I mean?
Okay. I thought that they were just going after people. They were like the Army's bounty hunters.
No, I don't think so.
For real? So now we're back to the slaughterhouse. They drop him out of a helicopter.
They take this and like kick him right out.
Yeah, here you go, smart guy. And they kick his ass out.
Because he
right?
even references, he's like, because the one guy's like, I don't remember who it is in the front.
It's Wild Bill, and then the dude that does the helicopter. I forgot what his name is. The big helicopter.
Right, and I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But at any rate, he's like, I bet that's not how gung ho and the fellas feel, you know, because they're like in the hospital.
Right.
All because of this dick.
Yeah. Yeah, so they knock him out the shit, right? And then he barely makes it, right? And then the renegades show up.
Yeah.
And of course you got the dude that can like do flips. He's like an ex-circus dude.
The bald guy?
Yeah. Yeah, Taurus.
And they're all like jacked.
Oh, these dudes are like wrestlers.
Yes.
They have wrestler personalities.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it makes sense that they're in the slaughterhouse.
What does he say? Look like we got 180 pounds of fresh meat. And he bites his whatever
Did you just
staff
get to
thing.
prison?
I don't know, right? And Mercer, of course. Mercer is the ex Cobra dude.
Right.
You get a good ball shot of that dude, you know, because Falcon's looking up. You're like, damn. He's giving him a freaking, you know, a tea bag at that point. So then, you know, of course, he's got to run all the way there, which is like, what, 10 miles away or something stupid shit.
I don't know, because he tells him, I think it's further than that.
Yeah.
Because it's like daytime.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you hurry, you can get there by morning or by breakfast.
Yeah. So
he doesn't make it.
No. Then he
But
has
he
to do
gets
KP. Yeah. Yeah, he's on the KP stuff. So yeah, then at this point, don't we go back to Cobra Law?
Yes.
And this is the trial of the Cobra Commander, this is where we learn who and what Cobra Law is. So Globulus is like floating in some weird, you know, testicle too. You don't really know what's underneath, right?
Yeah.
It's Burgess Meredith, which is his voice is fantastic.
Absolutely.
You know? And then they go
He
to
doesn't
the
even sound like Mick.
No.
He doesn't sound like the penguin either.
No. He goes to the web of remembrance. And they show like them 40,000 years, you know, in the past. Which is weird because like they show man, you know, the apes or the meat dwellers or whatnot using technology, right? They show them using technology in NASA, right? But then they show them like getting exiled out. So did they get exiled out in the early 80s or something?
I don't think so.
So did the steam engine piss them off? You know, I don't know what it was because it was like 40,000 years and they've been up there for that long.
There are some really cool points that are made in this movie where like, because they're very biological.
Yes.
Like everything's like creatures and well, like even the stuff they fly in is like another creature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a little more harmonious to some degree with nature, if
Yes.
you will.
Yeah.
Where man's like making all this stuff and like, you know.
They just disappear.
Yeah.
You know, because they had these big technological cities that were made out of this weird, you know, stuff. You know, these weird creatures, you know. So they live off of that. And then we find out that Cobra Commander is not a used car salesman.
Like we were told.
Exactly. He's an actual nobleman, right? And he's like, oh, I liked him a lot because he would work in the chemistry lab. And
wasn't he working on bioweapons?
Something like that,
Yeah.
right? So the spores, there's some sort of spores that spray in his face and he grows eyeballs everywhere, right? So
when they first started going into his backstory and they're like 40,000 years ago, I'm like, are they trying to say Cobra Commander's 40,000 years old? And they didn't. They were
No.
saying that civilization
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
at the height of its whatever.
yeah, so Globulus might be that old.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
no.
I think he's just the
They're the latest generation.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and it makes sense because earlier, like when they first meet Pythona, Cobra Commander's like, no, and he runs away and tries to get away.
yeah.
Like when he's first interacting with her, not when Serpentor meets her, but like when they all
Yeah,
meet.
yeah. When they
It's like he recognizes her. He's like, oh shit.
well, at first he's like, Nemesis Enforcer, you're an awesome bastard, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he kicks his ass, and then he's like, no, because he knows he's screwed, right? So they got him in a giant oyster, you know. And they basically, he's like, what about my trial? And he's like, we just had it. You're guilty.
And this is where we find out that he implanted the stuff in Dr. Mindbender's head to make
Right.
Serpentor.
It was a psychic implant.
Yes.
So instead of
psychic motivator.
yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, then the Joes kind of try to stage a coup and leave, but then they get stopped by the trees that like eat them up, right?
Yeah.
But that's after Cobra Commander gets the spores hit him again, right? So he starts his
It's a devolving.
yeah, and it's like ripping his shirt and stuff like that. But he's a snake with muscles. It's weird.
Yeah. He's like a snake man for a while.
Yeah. Once was a man. So yeah, they throw him.
Now you're mine. Sorry.
Oh man. So I mean, they throw him in with the Joes, right?
Right.
And he's like, "Wait for me," and they all get away, right? You think they do,
Right.
Then the trees get them and turn them into mummies.
Well, and Cobra Commander stops Roadblock and says it's a trap.
Yep.
And everybody else just keeps running because that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to happen twice in this,
Yeah.
actually. And Roadblock. At what point is Roadblock blind?
Well,
that's coming up, right?
That's at that part right there
Yeah.
because he gets sprayed with something.
That's right.
Something,
One
right?
of the bioweapons of some sort.
Yeah, he gets sprayed. And so
And then they draw his pupils real small.
yeah, right. He's like, I can't see. So he kind of leads him.
your eyes.
Yeah. So he kind of leads him out, and they end up back at the where the broadcast energy transmitter was.
Yeah, like that. He's like, I'll lead you out of here, and then they fall down into the river.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I guess is the way in and the way out, as we find out.
I guess so,
Yeah.
right? And so they end up back there, and then Cobra Commander's like still more devolving, but he won't shut up.
Yeah, he was a man.
Once was a man. And yeah, then you get to see, because he does see his face. He looks like a snake because he's like, oh, this is your faceplate, and he's like looking at him, and you see all the weird eyes on him and stuff like that, and he's still a snake. So of course, Serpentor's like, look at me, I'm a badass. Look what I did.
Yeah. I got this BET.
Mm-hmm. So
I upgraded our cable package.
So,
Sorry.
we got Showtime now, bitches.
BET.
Yes, we got BET now. So then, part of Falcon's training is to go raid
Yes.
the Terradrome.
Yes.
All right, so they go do that, right? And at that point, the Baroness, doesn't she discover where the BET's at, right?
Yes.
So they get there, they go through an attack, and because Mercer knows all the ins and outs of the whole place, right? And they never change it. He knows all the codes and everything, right? So they get in there, they cause a big disturbance, and they go back to their boats and like drive away, right?
Right.
You would think everything's over.
That's
Nope.
where we get some shitty art for a minute.
Right. And then they eventually follow him, or not necessarily follow him, but they do go where the BET is, and is another big giant fight, right?
Right.
Fight number 4 or something, right? So at this point, Falcon's being a dumbass, right? And Duke leaps in front of one of Serpentor's snake staffs.
Yeah, because he straightens him out and then throws him like a staff into
Yeah.
Duke jumps in the way.
They're like snake spears.
Yeah, hits him right in the heart.
Yeah. He's a rider, snake spear.
Yeah.
So it hits him right in the heart, and you think, oh man, he's dead. Because everybody's like, oh, even Serpentor stops.
Yeah. He's like, oh.
Oh, whoops. I'm not supposed to kill anybody. So, you know, of course, everybody's like, no. And you see Scarlet crying, and everybody's like, oh my God, right? So, but no, Falcon ain't done. He's like, I'm going to get him. So they go to the Himalayas, and that's right about time because they needed the BET basically to get the spores to go.
Yeah, so they had all these spores that just like we saw what hit Cobra Commander to devolve him into this snake creature, eventually into an actual snake, but we'll get there.
Yes.
But all those spores were in space.
They were going to go up into the upper
launched out of
atmosphere.
these pods into the upper atmosphere, and then they would make everyone devolve unless they were inside this airtight globe that they were in or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like in Night of the Comet, except for they were going to actually close the vents.
Yeah. They were working on it.
Yeah. So he takes, Falcon takes Jinx, and all the newer dudes, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones left.
Exactly.
You know? So they go through everything, right? And they start kicking butt. Right?
Well, and we should have said too, the other team that went in there, like General Hawk, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Was that who was leading that?
I think so. Yeah. Because they knew
they
where it
were
was
coming
at.
in there, and then like that's when they're like, it's a trap.
Yeah.
And because Roadblock ends up falling basically into like the other guys that are looking for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course it's too late because they kept going while that message was coming, and now they're all trapped too. The hell?
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course you get the big final battle because Slaughter's going to get Globulus, Pythona. She gets beat up by Jinx, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Nemesis Enforcer.
Jinx like kicks her ass. Actually,
yeah, I know, and Jinx is a badass, right?
Yeah, she put on her blindfold.
Yeah. So of course,
and this time Sergeant Slaughter doesn't get cheated. He dodges that thing because the first time they fight, he throws that thing at his face.
Yeah.
And he can't see or breathe or anything.
Yeah.
And he kind of gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then this time, like, he goes to throw the same thing, and he's like,
He's like, swish. Move. Swim. Yeah. But then they have a big crevasse to jump, too, right?
Of course they do.
And so, like, Sergeant Slaughter, like, spins, Doesn't he spin Jinx so Home Dude can
Grab
run?
my ankles.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly, right? And he's hanging on by a belt because Sergeant Slaughter's that badass, right? He could probably have a piece of twine and still not hurt his hand.
Because Falcon's, like, holding on by his, like, pike or whatever, right? Is that correct?
Something
holding
like
on to
that.
something. Like his knife, maybe, or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And then, like, he takes a belt, gives it the other end to Jinx, and then spins Jinx around so that he can grab her ankles, because that seems like a thing you would do.
Sergeant Slaughter's like going over the crevasse with her,
Right.
and he's got to time it right. So he jumps, and then by the time she's going for that next swing, he's going to grab her ankles.
Because she yells, grab my ankles.
Right.
I'm just saying, it seems like a really dumb plan.
That's not even like a circus move.
No.
So they win, right? Because, of course, Lieutenant Falcon, he turns on the BET and it kills the spores in the atmosphere, destroys them.
He overpowers them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then this is where, of course, Duke technically was supposed to die.
Okay.
In this movie. He was.
But they learned a lesson.
They learned a lesson on our next movie. But you get that little afterthought. It's like, Duke's out of his coma.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to be doing good. And they're like, yay! And that's it.
Joe.
And G.I. Joe's done.
And Jinx and Falcon kiss.
And probably, go have chili fries afterwards. He seems like that kind of a guy. Like, I like these chili fries. So, that's G.I. Joe the movie.
Yep. From 1987.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So
it's not my favorite G.I. Joe thing. Like,
No.
there are episodes that I really, really love.
Yeah.
I like the one where Snake Eyes finds the wolf.
Yes,
That was a really good one.
That was like the first season because they had like 2 miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
They had like the one that was the Weather Dominator series, and then they had one before that one where Duke has to actually like fight in an arena, like Cobra something, right? So that might be the Weather Dominator too. I don't remember. But so they had those 2. This is funny though. This is my only anecdote for that because I remember we lived in Paris, Texas. When I think
the most famous of Paris is yes.
Right. Whenever that first series came out, and you remember the boxes for those? They look like comic books, right?
Yeah.
Well, somebody let us borrow, or we rented a VCR like you could back in the day. And my dad had rented G.I. Joe, right? Because we had the big console TV that didn't work, and then the little TV on top, like everybody does, right? And that was hooked up, right? So I watched G.I. Joe, and that first season, that's like almost 2 hours or an hour and a half, something like that. And that was a long time back in the day.
Sure.
But I remember my dad, I don't know why this sticks with me. And we were in a trailer house and I was watching it. And then he comes back and he's like, I don't know why he left. And he's like, this thing is still on? That's one of the only things I remember from Paris. That and the tornado. But it was just so, I remember all of this stuff. Again, was kind of part of me being a little kid, After I graduated from He-Man, I went to G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I never really had a He-Man phase. I was all Star Wars, G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. See, I was always... We didn't have Transformers.
Huh?
I didn't have Transformers at my house. Only my friends did.
I had some Transformers, but none of the big ones.
I never had any.
I had a lot of G.I. Joe and a lot of Star Wars stuff. Like, that was my jam, I think.
Yeah. I had a shitload of G.I. Joe stuff. I didn't have the aircraft carrier, the space station, or the Terradrome.
I'd say my biggest toy in that was probably the Mobat, which was the motorized tank.
Oh, shit, I didn't even have that, yeah.
There's the green one where you could push the turret forward and it would actually move.
Right.
I had it for like a week before we put it in the sand and it burned out the motor.
I had a Night Raven. I had most of the jets except for the Sky Striker.
So the Sky Striker was the first G.I. Joe plane. I actually had one of those.
Damn.
And I blew it up. With actual gunpowder. Like I packed the cockpit full of gunpowder and made a wick and then threw it in the air and blew it up. But that was later,
I always wanted one, man. That was one of the things that I always wanted. I wanted one of those and of course like a Terradrome. Who didn't want the aircraft carrier?
Well, sure.
Where are you going to put that shit at? You know what I mean? Yeah. You just can't.
I remember my first G.I. Joe vehicle. Like one of my first people I got Tripwire, Rock and Roll. Do you remember Rock and Roll?
Yeah. From the early versions.
Yeah.
The straight arms.
That was, I got like 3 of those like together in the same deal.
There was like 4 on the original
like
series.
A laser or something, like some like random dude.
Yeah. Grunt.
The first vehicle I got was the green motorcycle with the Gatling gun on the side of it.
I always wanted that too, man. But you know what I really wanted the most?
What's that?
A Rattler.
Yeah.
Never had one of those, man.
I always thought the Night Raven was really cool. That was the one that had the plane the little one on top, right?
Yeah, it would detach. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty cool deal because the cockpit went down, so it was like an SR-72 or whatnot, whatever.
SR-71 Blackbird.
Yeah, the Blackbird, but it just came down and it had like a tandem one, so you got 2 of them,
like a little drone.
Yeah, I always want the Rattler. I still want one. I do.
It was more like almost like a B-52 to some degree, but a fighter.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just a weird design.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Because I had the stealth bomber.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. But
Did you ever have a Conquest? wasn't that the one?
Yes, that was
inverted wings.
Yep, I had one of those.
I didn't have that.
Yeah, because those were cheap. I think the Night Raven was like $20 at that time. Yeah, they made it a point with all the G.I. Joe toys that you could buy the whole entire line for $100. That was their goal.
That never happened. No way.
Until they came out with like, what was it? The aircraft carrier and the space station. Those were $100 a piece.
Yeah.
But their first initial idea, you could buy everything under $100.
Gotcha.
You know, and that was like a Sky Striker, Rattler, the whatever, the Jeep.
Well, yeah.
You know, and then the Awe Striker.
So that was probably before like the Havoc came out, the
Yep.
Mobat, and all those.
All the big ones, yeah. And then it was probably like $200.
Cross country. That.
Yeah. I had one of those.
I always took cross country and threw him out of there.
You know,
This is Snake Eyes vehicle now.
Well, you know what he had, right? He had a Confederate flag on his belt.
Oh, yeah.
He does. It's
That's
weird. You're like,
right.
whoa,
Yeah.
cancel that dude.
He was canceled, all right.
So after, I think I don't remember if I saw G.I. Joe first or Transformers. Probably G.I. Joe because I was more into G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Didn't get a chance to go see the next movie, which is Transformers.
Right.
In the theater.
I didn't either. Why don't you come over here and play with G.I. Joe?